Hello, Brawlers, and welcome to the BakuTalking Longer Podcast. I'm Haru Ren, and guess what? I got another special guest for you guys. You guys might know him. He is returning to Bakugan after a year of being asleep. He is the voice of Trox. But for all you 18 and up viewers out there, he is also Donovan in the Netflix show Sex Life, which you can view right now on Netflix, streaming right now. Here he is, the voice of Trox himself, Mr. Ucal Shillingford. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Wow, what an intro. I feel like I'm somebody important. Wow.
You are somebody important. You're on Bakugan. Everybody loves Trox.
That's true. Yeah, I don't think Trox does anything annoying, so you know what? I could see why people like him. That's true.
I see Trox more like a wise man of the group, kind of.
Exactly. Like I think they really wanted to make him like the kind of like a gentle giant, because he's like the wise voice of reason to Winton. And I mean, good casting, because I'm a gentle giant myself. I mean, I'm 6'5", and I'm a nice guy, so I'm like, this works. Method acting a little bit.
You're 6'5"?
Yeah, I'm a giant.
Wow, you're tall. Wow, yeah, you're tall. I'm only 5'11".
Oh jeez.
5'10", 5'11". Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if I met you...
I mean, that's good. I think that's like above average height for a man.
Around maybe 5'9" or 5'7".
Yeah,
that's like average height. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on to the show. It's a huge honor to have you.
Yeah, I'm grateful. I'm excited. I'm even doing this. I've done one other interview in my career. I guess, it's been 8 years now. I've been pursuing acting, film, TV, and voice. I've done one other radio interview, and it was fun. So anytime someone wants to reach out to me, I'm like, me? Oh, okay, sure. Why not?
Yeah. So you were an actor since about 2013 or so. So based on my research on you, you became an actor after finishing your master's degree in science, but you decided to hold off on medical school in order to pursue acting, which is a childhood dream of yours.
Yes.
So tell me what the background was. That what thought went into that?
Is my dad gonna see this? No. Well, maybe. Anyways, I'm a grown man now. He's just gonna have to deal with it. But let me start with first saying I'm of Caribbean heritage, a small, beautiful nature island, Dominica, not the Dominican Republic. Not the Dominican Republic, but Dominica. It's north of St. Kitts and Nevis, just northwest of Barbados. Very small, beautiful island. But I only say this to say I have Caribbean heritage, and when your parents immigrated from a small island, if you were not a doctor, lawyer, engineer, even accountant, you're almost a quote-unquote failure. Because they're like, and I don't want to say that in a like harsh sense, but I'm sure many other immigrant families can attest to this. If you're not doing something secure and sustainable, your parents are like, what the heck did we sacrifice for? And da-da-da. I'm like, you sacrificed so I could go be a cello player if I wanted. Like, you gave me a chance to do what I want. But anyways, I was in university, even in high school, I was very interested in science. Like, I love the human body. I love knowing what makes us tick, what limitations I have being 6'5" versus someone who's, 5'11", like physiology, just how our bodies are made up. I was really intrigued on that, especially the chemistry and biology aspect. So that's why I did life sciences at the University of Waterloo. But I've always kind of been a bit of a big fool, like class clown, goofy, which was a bit of annoying to some teachers. So like, Ucal, you're getting A's on these tests and like A minuses, but you're distracting your peers. Can you tone it down a little bit, please? So that was Mr. Edwards. Shout out to Mr. Edwards and Ms. Eels. Those are my two teachers from high school I still love. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent. I was just always a bit of a keener student, but I always had a bit of a class clown, like to make people laugh energy. So after 4 years of university, actually after 2 years at Waterloo, I switched out of biochemistry and switched into just honor science, so I could do psychology and theater electives, right? Because I wanted to broaden my scope. Because biochemistry, like, I was learning how to synthesize like aspirin in 6-7 hour labs, which cool, but again, I like talking to people, I like interacting. So after I did one of those lab sessions, I'm like, yeah, nah, this isn't for me. No. So again, that was in year 2, at the end of year 2 in my 4-year degree. So I switched to something more general, so I could take theater electives, psychology electives, and I really enjoyed the drama classes, learning about Stanislavski, mask technique, the fourth wall in acting, just very abstract things that you learn at a, I guess, higher level theater training. I only did 3 theater classes, but again, mind you, back to the Caribbean parents, having a future, not disappointing your family. I'm still going to go to med school. Like, you know, I like helping people as much as I like interacting with them. I like science. Doctor, that's a reasonable option. And then I wrote my MCAT, and I actually brought my MCAT textbook up here. I'll show you guys in a second. Where is it?
Oh.
My old MCAT study textbook. Where is it?
That's a huge
proof.
book.
I'm not lying. I actually got it ready just to help with this story. But anyways, I wrote my MCAT. Yeah, this is my closet studio. Sorry, I hope I don't show anything compromising in here.
I'm pretty sure not. If not, if you do, it'll probably be edited out.
Okay. Anyway, so I was writing my MCAT in my 4th year of university. But I also did a play in university called Single and Sexy. I saw the play and I'm like, I could do that. I would be fun to do that, be on stage and like make this theater of people laugh. Like, yeah, I want to give it a try. So although I was focused on my MCAT, I still auditioned for this play in university my 4th year, and I got cast. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I really am going to do this. And I was nervous as heck. You know, you realize that, wait, there's going to be 400 to 500 first-year students in the audience watching you. And theater isn't like film and TV, where you go, all right, take 6, take 7, act better. We need you to act better. Take 8, No, theater, you're on. There's no, going again. So I almost tinkled in my pants a little bit on the first opening day. Like, I was that nervous. I'm going to be honest here, because it was my first time. But I loved it. I loved the rush of it. I just loved the performance aspect, knowing that we were telling a story. It was about healthy attitudes in university. I was playing Nick, who was a gay, racist jock. So, yeah, they really meshed a lot of people into one character.
That really does sound like a lot. That really does sound like a really loaded character.
It is, but they also had another character who had an eating disorder, but she was the popular girl. Another character who he was a controlling boyfriend. They basically tried to group as much as they could into this university production for first-year students. Be like, hey, you're coming from small town anywhere into university. This is what you might experience on campus. Quick shout out to people going to university during these COVID times. That must be an experience, because I don't even know if they're on residence. Anyways, I digress. I did this play. I really liked it, but then I was like, you know what? That was fun. Let me get back to the topic. My MCAT was so-so the first time, so I went and applied to a master's program to get research experience, because I'm not sure if you know, Haru, applying to med school in Canada, very tough.
Yeah.
Do you have friends who've done it?
I have a cousin who is in med school right now, and she told me the process was very long.
A Canadian med school did she get in?
She went to I can't remember what it's called. She went to a med school in I think she went to a med school in Vancouver or something.
Okay, yeah, probably maybe UBC. Anyways. Yeah, okay. But I was only saying that, I only bring up to say, like, there's very limited seats in Canada and it's very competitive. So I went to get research experience doing a course-based master's at the University of Guelph. I studied under Dr. Francesco Leary, who is a really cool addictions and behavior psychopharmacologist. It was really cool. Like, I got to interact with rats. I actually traded 7-hour labs making aspirin into, 7 to 9-hour days being alone with rats. But rats are actually pretty cool. Hey?
Lab rat testing?
Yeah, lab rat testing, but rats actually have personalities. Like, some of them were playful, some were like kept to themselves. I'm like, this is weird, but I'm bonding with these rats. And one of the girls, actually one of the junior lab assistants, she actually said, yeah, I have 2 pet rats. I was like, Interesting. Anyways, I digress. I did that research experience and I realized, nope, research isn't for me. Again, I'm an animated person, outgoing. I don't like being alone with rats for 8 hours at a day. I found some cool experiments. We were looking at high fructose corn syrup, the addiction or the correlation between obesity and if it triggered addiction pathways in the brain. But I was just doing it for the research experience and to get it. But I wrote my MCAT a second time. That was in 2013, the summer of 2013. But I had also been asked by one of my past theater mates from that Single and Sexy play, like, hey, we're doing Titus Andronicus, like some community theater. We need someone for Aaron the Moor. Would you be interested in auditioning? I'm like, you know what? Why not? I'm only studying for my MCAT. I'm sure I can swing that too. Needless to say, I was juggling both, and that was the turning point. Like, I was more excited about getting into character for Aaron the Moor in that play than I was about learning or polishing my physics, which was physical sciences, which was the weakest point I was for my MCAT. But I was more passionate and excited about the play. So I was like, you know what? I'm 23 years young. I've done my degree. I got both of them. I'm not worried about what my dad's going to say anymore. I'm going to give it a go. And of course, for the next 5 years, he's like, why do you want to be a comedian? I don't get it. I was like, no, that's not, that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to be Denzel. I'm trying to be Denzel Washington. There's a difference.
So,
you know, but anyways,
yeah.
that was the deciding moment where I'm at 23, where I was like, I'm going to find an agent in Toronto. There's actually someone in my chemistry class who had an agent in Toronto. I reached out to him. That was, again, 8 years ago now, almost nine. And yeah, I moved into the city with a family member, and I've been on the pursuit ever since.
That is an inspiring story, honestly. That's how you defy your parents' expectations and you just go for something that you love and you want to do. You know?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the compliment. And I mean, it wasn't easy because, you know, my mom was my biggest champion, but my dad still to this day, he's like, I'm worried about you, you know, you're almost 40 years old. I'm like, what? I'm not almost 40. I just turned like 30. You know, parents are like, you're going to retire soon. I was like, huh? Well, you can't fast forward 20 years of my life. What?
Well, yeah. I mean, your dad probably just has his heart in the right place, right? I think he genuinely loves you. You know, he just
of course, and like at this point, fine. He's happy. Like when he saw my Mucinex commercial, which I got in 2018, I got flown out to Mexico. That was a really cool experience. I did this commercial on a whim because a lot of commercials you go into cattle, you feel like they're quote unquote cattle calls. Like, all right, just herd all the actors in. Da 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 da. Who has the nicest smile? Colgate toothpaste. Yeah, you know, you're like, well, I'm going to sell your product. Either you like me or you don't. You don't take them as seriously as you do a film and TV audition. At least me and many of my actor friends don't. But I booked that job and they flew me out to Mexico. And I only bring this up to say my grandmother in Dominica is like, oh yeah, I saw Ucal's commercial. And my dad's like, what? You saw his commercial? Because it was an American company. They were broadcasting it everywhere. My dad's like, oh, I guess he really is doing this thing.
So that was what convinced your dad to be like, yeah, I am serious about this thing. This is what makes me happy.
If you do it like exactly like 5 years later, almost 2013 to 2018, I think he always knew I was quote unquote serious, but he realized like, oh, he's actually getting a little bit of notice on the world stage. But mind you, that was 4 years, almost 4 years ago now, and you know. I've noticed in these last 8 years I've been doing this, you have one or two cool bookings per year. Sometimes it's one, sometimes it's not even any. Maybe it's just a close call, like you're on a short list being considered. But in my luck, I've had one or two bookings per year, because we really have like 40 or 50 auditions, but bookings per year where you're like, okay, I can still do this. Like, you know, don't give up. Because as I'm sure you may know from the other actors, even before I got Bakugan, it's part of the process, part of the journey to just get rejected or passed up constantly. You just have to have tough skin and know that, hey, I'm taking classes, I believe in myself, I'm trying to work on my accents, I'm trying to work on myself. Let's keep going. I mean, mind you, I'm still a bartender. I work at the infamous Cheesecake Factory over here in Toronto. So I still have those quote unquote humble beginnings, but my point is you get like a little bit of a win each year that encourages you to keep going. And so like, hey mom, dad, look, I'm on that Netflix show briefly, or I did this briefly, like, and not even to say you're doing it to your parents, but it's more so for your own psyche, because you hear no so often. Sometimes in the first 4 years, I sat up in my bed when my best friends were going to med school. I was like, what am I doing? Like, you have that kind of reflective, like, am I making the right choice for my future type thing?
Yeah, everybody has those times, and then
Mm-hmm.
but the important thing is just to keep going at it. If it's not working out, life will tell you that's not working out. But right now, you don't know that yet. So
Exactly.
Why do you guys stop now? Like, don't
exactly,
wait,
and you know what?
Don't
exactly.
don't wait for life to tell you it's not working out. Don't try to like do your best at it.
Exactly, that's it. You have to just keep pushing forward, and if after several years you're not making headway, maybe instead of in front of the camera, maybe you're meant to be a writer or producer or director. You learn different skills, or maybe you get into poetry or whatever. But yeah, life will kind of show you, as long as you're following. I think the key is as long as you're following what you're passionate about, because I think it was good. I was studying my MCAT, the medical college test, as well as trying to do the play, because I saw in my heart of hearts which way I was naturally like more excited and passionate about doing, because sometimes you could like be like, oh, I really want to be a guitarist and play in a band, but nope, I'm gonna go be an accountant because that's what's safe. And don't get me wrong, doing the safe thing is sometimes more logical, but I'm a person where I don't like to live with what ifs. I'm in my early 30s now. I may not look it, especially since I had to shave. I had to shave for a recent audition. But my point is, I know at least I've given things a try. So if I have to go back to being maybe a pharmacist or whatever, which are all noble professions, at least I said, hey, I tried to do this thing,
Yeah, at least you could say that you tried to do it, and and I think it's really cool that you have two things that you're good at, but you went for the thing, and while being a doctor or something is the safe path for you, you decide to do what you feel is right and what you feel makes you happy, and
exactly. I guess
that's like the most important. I think that's like the most important message that I've gotten out of this interview already, from you. Everybody watching, do what you love and just give it your all.
Yeah, because it's not going to be easy. Again, there are periods of self-doubt, like, never mind just acting, even before voice, before my last agent encouraged me. She's like, Ucal, you have a nice voice. You need to put it on a demo reel and start going out there. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm trying to be Denzel. Like, I want to tell meaningful, cool stories, because I'm an animated, expressive person. I want to use my medium to do that. I could have maybe been a comedian. I'm a funny enough guy, but that's not what I felt like I was passionate about. But like you said, as long as you're passionate about something, whether it's being the best plumber, whether it's making, garments, being clothed, you have to try. I feel like our parents gave us, and that's why I told my dad. I eventually told him recently, I'm like, Dad, you worked hard to give me the opportunity to try and fail. If I was an immigrant, got married early, maybe I wouldn't have had that opportunity and luxury. But I got my degree, like, I have that, and now I want to give something a try. Like, yeah, so as long as you're passionate about something and you're intrinsically motivated, that's one thing I learned from Psych 101. Intrinsic motivation. If it speaks to you from the inside, give it a go, because you don't want to live with what ifs, and I'm not a person that likes to live with what ifs.
Yeah, exactly, because once you've turned like 70 or 80, that's just gonna be miserable, right?
Exactly. And it's not easy. I went on a tangent. Like, there are some nights where I was sitting in bed reflecting, like, some of my closest friends are resident doctors. I'm here waiting for other people to give me a yes. Oh, we liked his work. Like, look what I could do. Ha ha. Spirit fingers. Whoa. Look what I could do. Pick me. And then they don't. And you're like, oh, but instead of taking it personal, I'm now, as I'm a little bit more of a seasoned professional, I'm like, maybe I'm just not right for that role. but I'm gonna keep going because my role is gonna come in time. And I've learned to like start creating my own content. Like I'm working on something that now this lockdown actually in Ontario has given me more time to focus on. I'm actually taking a class, but I'm just going to my point is, even pursuing your passion, there are going to be low moments, periods where you doubt yourself, but you have to go back to why you're doing it in the first place, and does it make you happy? And a big shout out to my supportive friends and family, because like your circle, you know, in high school, I had some friends who were into some bad stuff, and luckily I separated myself from them early enough. Some of them are doing better now. Some are in jail. Yeah, exactly. But my point is, my friends help me stay on a good path too, because they will support you and give you like honest and supportive criticism, you know?
The real ones. Yeah.
Exactly, the real ones, exactly.
Yeah, and yeah, that's an awesome, and I like how it's your parents' thing is kind of reflective of my parents. My parents are typical Asian parents, you know. They want you to be a doctor, they want you to be a lawyer and stuff. But yep. You tell them you want to be something else, and then they just give you the deep sigh, like.
Yeah, you're gonna ruin almost like a. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, that's I think that's what every parent deep down, they just know. You know what? We just want our kids to be happy. You know, and just
that's it,
and do what they want.
Yeah, and I think along with happiness, a lot of them, immigrants especially, all parents in general, but immigrants especially, they want their kids to be in something secure and sustainable. But you know,
they want them to be happy, but they want them to be all right. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't be big kids forever.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of people have gotten really to know the voice behind Trox now.
Yeah, I gave my life story there. I don't know if I told too much, but I mean, I've told that story at least like 5 times. But it's just true, because my dad, and not to even not bash, but mention him again. He's always like, Ucal, if you wanted to be an actor, you should have started from young. You know, it's not something you start later. I'm like, no, Dad, I don't think there's any right time to start anything. Like, some of the most successful actors started in their 40s or 50s, and I'm very happy I went to university. Some of my closest friends are from university. I know the experience of working on those labs, and I still, you know, have a deeper appreciation and understanding of science. But I won't trade, or I don't regret the way I went about it. But yeah, it's my story, and like your story is your story. Some people start like Disney Club, like Ryan Gosling or Justin Timberlake. You know, they start as a Disney Channel kid or whatever. Yeah. You know, that's not my story. I started as a class clown kind of nerd. So.
Yeah, but then there's also guys like James Earl Jones, who was in the military before he became a voice actor. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he was a football player, but he got cut from NFL and then he became pro wrestler and now an actor. You know,
right, exactly.
There's never a wrong time to like start something. If you've really found something that you really want to do, then you usually have to go through a period of time of doing stuff that you didn't want to do before you actually find it, right?
Exactly. That's kind of life. It's like a metaphor for life. You have to keep in finding yourself. A part of finding yourself is finding out what you're passionate about and what you do and don't like. Because at the end of the day, whether you want to be an accountant and because you really like numbers or balancing books, or you want to be a doctor, or you want to be even a comedian, even though my dad scoffs, at the end of the day, you have to wake up and be happy about what you're doing to some level, you know.
And I guess for your acting career, I guess the master's degree really helped you out, because you were a nurse on Wu Assassins.
Yeah, that was funny. When I got that role, I booked it when I was in Vancouver. I auditioned in Vancouver. I came back to Ontario, and they're like, well, he would have to fly back out here kind of on his own because we want a Vancouver local. I'm like, ah, sure, whatever. This is kind of coming back to my roots, working as a nurse in the scene. And working with those actors, Tai Ma, his name keeps escaping me right now. I think Tai Ma. He's the Rush Hour, the famous actor from Rush Hour, and even Benson. Yeah, Chima and Benson Chang. anyways, but it was just so cool working with them in that experience. But I did laugh at myself. I'm like, look at this. I was studying the sciences, and now here I am in a medical show or environment, I should say.
Were you getting like really bad flashbacks from doing that role?
More so like, hey, you could have really been here if you didn't start pursuing acting. You could have really been a nurse or a doctor working in this thing. And hospitals are stressful, as we've seen, as my doctor friends have told me, and as we've seen over the course of this pandemic.
Yeah,
it's Grey's Anatomy, a Dr. House, which I watched a lot during university because it was inspiring me, like the medical mysteries. That show was so cool. Those shows like show the fun side of medicine, but like it's long hours, it's grueling hours, and sometimes you're understaffed. So I was like, this could have been my reality when I was on that set. But I'm like, it's not. I'm on the opposite side. I'm playing it for pretend now.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not what you see in like the movies. Like it's not like Doctor Strange or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely
And I my friends who are working in it right now are like, yeah, Grey's Anatomy, and they said Scrubs. That TV show Scrubs is more comedic. They said Scrubs is the most accurate. Grey's Anatomy has parts, but let's face it, it's mostly a soap opera. Get people to watch it. But they said it's a lot of unpleasant and long and stressful stuff, but such is the world of healthcare,
Yeah, especially Canadian healthcare.
Yeah, exactly, as we're learning during this pandemic too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually it's funny how you said I was hibernating or asleep for the whole season. When they put me asleep for, I think, season 3, at the end of season 2, I was like, I don't know if he's going to come back. I hope so. Like, and then I did come back.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah, that was gonna ask you. Were you blindsided when you found out that Trox was not coming back for season 3?
Yes, I was definitely blindsided, but the producers were so nice. They're like, he's not dead. The character isn't gone. He's just taking a rest for a little bit. I was like, hey, you know what? I've had 2 seasons. This is a good run. If he goes into an eternal sleep, I'm happy I even made it this far. But it's not like they give you the plans of their whole season ahead of time. Like, you're learning of what's happening in the show maybe 3 weeks to a month before it airs on the network. So it's still like I was like, oh, okay, he's going into a bit of a hibernation. What does that mean for my job security? And then, and then they told me after the episode. Yeah. But
were you excited when Trox was coming back for season 4?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because I see it. I'm like the Pikachu to Ash Ketchum, except Trox to Winton style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like his right-hand man, and even I think it was in season 2 or at the end of season 1, season 2, there was these new Ventus Bakugan who were coming. I was like, so who are these other green Bakugan trying to cramp on my territory? Like, who are they? I'm still the main guy. I'm still his main guy.
You're the main guy that rides on the shoulder, and they're the ones that just stay in the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as no one's trying to replace me on the shoulder, I'm good.
But how did you feel when Josh Graham replaced you on the shoulder?
Who? Sorry.
How did you feel when Falcron replaced you?
You know what? I mean, was that must have been for much of season 3 or something, right? Was it?
Yeah, that was season 3.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. I blanked it out because I'm like, I was like, I didn't watch it because I think it would have. I didn't watch much of it because I think it would have hurt a little more, being like, oh, okay, so I'm just asleep and this guy's like taking all my moment. But when they brought me back for season 4, I was like, okay, good. Natural balance has been restored.
Yes. I'm not to knock on Josh or not to knock on Josh or anything, but everybody was just very used to the dinosaur.
Right. The friendly Winton. I don't know what I even like a funny story about that audition. As I said earlier, be it voice auditions, film or TV, you sometimes, like, I booked a movie on the Oprah Winfrey Network last year in 2021. And then I did. That was in June. Yeah. June, July. I did another 20 to 25 other lead auditions. I think I got one shortlist, but I didn't book any of them.
Oh.
So it's like, yeah, so it's like, and some of these are like you would be working with great actors. One was in the series Mayor of Kingstown with Jeremy Renner, which was a cool show, or is a cool show. Taylor Sheridan, a great writer and producer. So all of these opportunities, like, yeah, this could be my next big shot, my big break, and then they don't happen. So you really have to have thick skin. But what was I going to say? So when they brought me back for season 4 of Bakugan, I'm like, yes, I still have that. Like you really learn as an actor in any arts, but you to be very grateful for the wins and bookings you do have, especially the recurring ones, because it keeps you busy and it keeps you motivated. Because you face so much rejection just naturally, but that's part of the process. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be on Netflix. I want to be a TikTok star or whatever and be famous." I'm like, okay, TikTok's one thing, sure, but like the real trenches of like actually going through it. Like I've been doing this 8 years, and it doesn't feel like it's been that long, but 2013, like I'm like, when I started saying 8 years last year, I'm like, darn, like, damn, that's a long time.
But hey, it's eight years, prosperous years.
Exactly. There you go. It's all about perspective. It's all about how we frame things. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're an amazing actor. So, and I think you've been. I think you're doing pretty good.
Thanks, Haru. I appreciate the compliment. I don't know about amazing. I just have no shame. I've told my friends, like, you. Sometimes I put up silly stories on my Instagram or whatever. Like, man, your hair is not even cut. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm not I know some people like fun filters, and there's the odd fun filter I use, but I'm like, I am who I am, and I think that's me being always a big goofy. I was bullied briefly in high school and middle school. I was bullied briefly because I was wearing, like, I guess, no-name brand stuff, but I thought it looked cool.
Oh.
So I've always been kind of like, as my brother says, someone who doesn't really care about what other people think to an extent. I wouldn't want to do this interview with a booger hanging out of my nose, but I had to shave my face. I'm not like, oh my god, I don't like my bare face, but I am who I am. If I get the role I auditioned for with it, then it's win. Otherwise, I made a funny video where I had a mustache. I just went with the moment. So I just kind of go with a flow person and grateful for the wins that come my way. So when you say I'm an amazing actor, I'm like, thank you. But I'm more so just, I have no shame.
But I genuinely mean it. I do think you're a great actor, and
Thank you, Haru.
And
I didn't even know you.
By the way,
you have one.
Of these? Did you get one of these toys?
Of all people, Winton, I keep calling him Winton, Dev Mac gave me, and I keep it here. I didn't even take it out of the. Hold on, can I turn this around? Let's see if I can turn this around. How do I turn around my camera? Oh, like this. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
it's still in the package.
Yeah, and there's actually a crystal. I believe a crystal Trox here. Let me.
Diamond. Oh, you also have a diamond Trox. That's awesome.
Yeah, diamond Trox. And then the OG.
Oh, the regular Trox.
But yeah, I'm like for the day that they actually put me to sleep for good. At least I'll have those toys. Like, it really happened.
I don't think they're gonna kill any Bakugan off. So anytime soon.
No.
Like,
yeah, and in fact, when I first got the series, someone told me, like, I used to love Bakugan. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, because it's a relaunch, right?
Yeah, it's a reboot. It was like 10 years dead, and then finally came back.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot of people are happy it did come back. I've even had some cool fans message me, like, can you make sure the writing for season 4 is a little more or a little less cheesy? I was like, I just show up and do my job. Like,
I just work here, bro.
I have some creative control, and I'm actually trying. I have some creative control, and, like, Winton, I don't think, like, I could change how I say something, but I don't change the writing. Like, I'm not a writer. They have a whole team of people behind that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I it's like the writing is one department, the actors are another department and stuff. You guys don't correlate stuff and all that, right?
No, if I eventually I write my own kid show or my own series, like I'm trying to work out a short film idea. The writing is it's hard in itself. I'm trying, but like then I have creative control. But I just found I was so flattered. I forget his name. Cool enough, nice enough dude. He was really polite about it. He's like, I really like the show, but I just hope that they don't make the story cheesy and da da da. And I was like, hey man, I'm flattered you took the time to message me, but I don't have that power. But I did tell the producers. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but I did tell the producers that hey, some people have some feedback for the show. They want it to be like really meaningful stories, and I think for the most part they do. But at the same time, it's a kid's anime. It's not like Attack on Titan or Claymore. I don't know if you've ever watched Claymore, that anime.
I know it, but I didn't watch that yet. So.
But those adult animes, like those ones are intense.
Yeah, it's like, and it's it's definitely not. Bakugan is definitely like it's definitely not supposed to be like so super deep, but it also is still like a very engaging show, right? So
right, 100%. And there's a lot of good values. Like my favorite episode is from season 1 when Winton was pranking Trox so much that Trox didn't find it funny. And he's like, "You're a bad Bakugan brawler," like, you know. And he told him, he's like, "You're not a good friend," basically. And that was my favorite episode because it like highlighted that, like, hey, you can't take advantage of someone for your own laughs and views on YouTube. I'm like, I feel like this is like a message for the times, because a lot of those prank videos on YouTube or Instagram or YouTube, people are like, hey, you touched my girlfriend's bum, and they would go up to random strangers and do that.
Oh my god, exactly. Yeah. And
like some of those people either got in trouble because they were doing it in rough parts of America, or like just got punched, or because it's like, yo, you're infringing on people's personal space sometimes just for laughs and likes. And that was literally what the episode with Winton and Trox was about.
Yeah, and actually, when I was speaking to Devin, he actually said that was also his favorite episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Look at that.
He said that was also his favorite episode. And honestly, that episode, I really love that episode. I think Devin did the crying really nice. And then you had the line, trust is hard to earn and easy to break.
Yeah.
I definitely
I'm gonna go back and watch that.
Yeah, I definitely think that episode was a good message.
100%. That's why I said, like, maybe that's what that fan was saying. He's like, get back to season 1 messages or whatever. Because I don't know. I mean, writers are always evolving, like how to make different twists, like, you know, Destroya and the Elementals. I pretty much like the show, and I'm still not even fully caught up. Again, I kind of ignored a lot of season 3 because I was personally cast aside.
Oh, you didn't miss much.
Ooh, tea. Oops. But anyways, I like uncovering the story as I go, but I think writers have a challenge, like how do we keep this fun and interesting? But also, it's a dubbing, like it's coming from Japan, that we dub it here in English. So it's like, again, the writers and translators here on this Canadian side aren't the people creating the actual like full content. You know, like there's some words that they change to make it fit. The mouth flaps and whatnot, and I'm going to try and release some behind the scenes eventually of what it's like in the booth. I know Julius sometimes puts little clips up on his Twitter, but he never, unlike me, I'm such a fool. Sometimes on my Instagram, I'll be, oh, yeah, I'm back for season 4, and I recorded the TV in the sound booth in the studio, and then Devin's like, hey man, there's a spoiler in that, you need to delete that. I was like, oh, it's been up for like 12 minutes.
Oh god, yes! I remember that, and I posted.
Remember?
Yes. Oh god.
No, but you know what? I mean, as you said, some fans are really on it. It's like, to me, when I don't realize like it was a big spoiler, I didn't think it was a big thing, but some fans were like, wait a second, what happened there? Why is it, you know? So I had to be much more mindful. I'm like, hey, Thomas, can you make sure the TV's blank before I take a picture this time? Or like, I just stopped taking pictures altogether.
Yeah, I know that when you posted that specific picture where it had that one spoiler, I don't think we're gonna say what it is, because I don't want you to get in trouble any more than I'm worried that you might have.
No, but it's fine. I know. I remember,
when
right?
I posted that, and I reposted it, and I reported it on a video. I don't know if people can find
it's whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Hey.
It happens, but I think I remember Tom Holland accidentally, like for No Way Home, was it No Way Home or the Spider-Man before that? But he accidentally leaked like a version of the movie online on his Twitter because he wasn't good with using Twitter or something.
Oh,
and like a couple.
Yeah, that was Far From Home.
Far From Home, sorry, exactly. Yeah, and I was like, at least it wasn't a leak like that. But like, they even for auditions, like again, I'm in my little sound booth here. Some auditions I do for Ubisoft, I won't name them, but they make you sign paperwork saying what's called an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, where you aren't going to talk about the audition at all. So like, you won't even talk about the project name. They use code words because it's intellectual property, and they don't want it leaking because someone's like, oh my god, this, and then they put it all over social media. Funny story, I remember when I was about 4 years ago, someone got cast on Star Trek, but they don't even say audition Star Trek, they use Project Honeywater or I don't even know if it should, that's not exactly what it is, but they'll use Project XYZ, like a fake name. But this kid, he ignored the NDAs, he was in his trailer, and he was just like, oh my god, look at this cool outfit, the wardrobe. But it was for a season that hadn't come out, that outfit wasn't, they fired him.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's like you have to really be mindful. Luckily Devin kind of like, hey man, just pump the brakes a bit when you're in the studio. I know you're excited to be back and stuff, but just gotta be careful because some people are really keen. So I'm like, all right, you know what, that's wise. I don't want to get fired from the show.
Yeah, especially like in this golden age of like social media where like information gets out like so easily. And then like as soon as you post something, it's gonna spread everywhere. And honestly, actually, there's a Bakugan wiki article for Evolutions. Literally, how people found out that season 4 was happening was because of you. That's literally the first thing that it says.
Yeah, I saw that one, and I was like, because I don't realize, and again, I'm not even on Twitter, but I guess Instagram, there's some fans who know, aside from my like silly antics, some fans know that if Trox's voice actor Ucal's going to be in the booth, there's a good chance he might post. And I was just excited to be back, like, hey, I'm out of my hibernation. And then I didn't realize that, like, wait a second, this hasn't been publicly announced yet, but it was too late.
Yeah, exactly. But
luckily,
it's exciting, right? So, and it's also like Trox is back and he's better than ever, right? Because he has like the metal spikes coming out of him, and he's an element.
Yeah. So I mean, I've pumped my brakes a bit since then, but I've learned a bit to like not be too eager, or just be more selective of what I post. It's cool though that there's such a following.
Oh, when's the first episode coming out?
Nope. Nice try. Nice try.
Trick question.
Yeah, you thought you were gonna. Yeah, you thought you were gonna get me slipping. Nope.
I did a live stream news video not that long ago, like a couple days ago or so, and I speculated when it's gonna come out, but there's no official confirmation when it's gonna come out yet, so we don't know.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't even like. I think I can tell you this: we are halfway through. Just over halfway through recording or dubbing season 4, so it's making progress. I just don't know when they release it. And even if I could give you a date, I don't want to give you a date because things move around so much. Like, a funny thing is, on that snowstorm we had in Toronto, I was only one of the few actors that made it in because it was just such a bad storm. So some, I think, worked remotely, others just had to cancel outright. But like, there's always what we call production delays sometimes. It doesn't matter if it's voice acting or film and TV. Like, when I did that show on Netflix, again, if you're 18 and older, Sex/Life, a partner of mine in the scene, he didn't get his COVID test on time. He's like, no, I'll get it on Tuesday. Like, we strongly recommend you get it on Monday because it takes time for the results. He's like, no, I don't want to come in early. I'm going to get it on Tuesday. He did the test Tuesday, but the results didn't come back, and we were filming on Thursday. They didn't let him on set.
Oh, yeah, that's too...
And luckily, they already got his close-ups, so they just did wide-angle shots, and they had a body double in replace him.
Oh, I think I know what scene you're talking about, actually.
Yeah, You could probably, yeah, you could see when it's really far away. Yeah. Anyways, but if you do watch the show, yeah, but that, again, that's what I'm saying. Filming in these times is strange. Like there's production delays now. There's like COVID delays. Some productions, like Netflix, they could pay to have you tested. Smaller budget productions, tests apparently cost like roughly 300 to 400 per test back then. I don't know what it is now, but some productions don't have the money for that. So you know, they just say, please quarantine at home, be safe. But you know, it's a strange time. I'm just happy that the industry is still working. Really.
Yeah, it's the industry is like very chaotic right now. I would say, like in terms of like production and stuff. I know like in when they were doing. I know Simu Liu, who did Shang-Chi, and he was also doing Kim's Convenience at the time as well. He had to like fly to and from Australia to do Shang-Chi and then come back and do Kim's Convenience. And like all in like 4 days, in the span of 4 days, and like Canada has like strict COVID stuff, right? So and getting back to the country was a struggle for him.
Right. But like you just I think producers, they just know where there's a will, there's a way. As long as the actors and the team, never mind the actor, as long as the actor's behaving and not like, you know, going to rave in nightclubs in between, which if you're a professional you won't, because you're just happy you got the job and you don't want to fumble it. But the cast and crew, like the crew are unsung heroes. Like the setting up, the grips and gaffers, the lighting, the makeup, like it really takes a village. And that's why I'm trying to get my vlog up and running. I have a vlog. I have so much footage from the last year. It's just sitting down and learning to use DaVinci or Adobe Premiere Pro and cut it together. But filming on these COVID sets, it really takes a village of people, and it's amazing to see how many to this get. Even just that, I'm only in Sex Life for 2 minutes, if that, maybe 2.5. They cut out some scenes, as always happens, but like it still took 2 full days of filming. Like it was really impressive how many people it takes.
Yeah, and it's really amazing. Like all these team together, and they're still able to like get out stuff, right? And because like there's a silver lining with COVID and the media industry. With COVID, people are staying in more, and therefore they have more time to like watch stuff and like go streaming platforms. So they have time to watch Netflix, they have time to watch YouTube, they have time to watch Disney Plus or something like that. And they're like, and then the industry is like, okay, more people are staying inside, and we can make money off of streaming platforms. So let's just make something and let's just get them out. Get them out there.
Yeah. In July 2020, that's when I filmed Letters to Satan Claus, which is a kind of a cool parody horror movie on like a holiday movie spin-off. It was really smart writing, but they were one of the first productions to come back in 2020, and they just had all these COVID protocols. But I remember one of the producers actually got into one of the costumes for a reindeer, because I was like, oh, you're doing that? She's like, yeah, normally it would have been a background actor, but we can only have 15 background actors as opposed to the 60 we wanted. So like they had to really condense the size of the set and production, but the show must go on. You know, they had already started filming like 2 weeks or a week and a half before COVID hit in March 18th, 2020 in Ontario at least, and then they had to stop. But like they're like, we have 5 days of the movie done, we only have 11 left, like we need to make it happen. So just got creative about it.
Oh yeah, and sometimes, you know, that ends and getting creative about it. Sometimes it ends up being better than you expect it to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, when COVID hit and Bakugan was still like going on and stuff, the community was kind of worried that production would slow down. Maybe they'll skip a year of the show because they wouldn't allow the actors to like come into the set, right? But they thought ahead, and that's exactly how I got that shiny piece of hardware here. You know exactly. Yeah, and like I think it was only for about 7 months. And then they eventually started asking, once restrictions eased up, asked, are you okay coming into the studio? Like, there's only one person at a time. We're sanitizing, changing the microphones in between. I'm like, yeah, sure. Because sometimes, although it was fun recording from the slow closet studio, sometimes there were some difficulties with the microphone settings, like all the stuff that an audio engineer does in the studio.
I had to try and troubleshoot, as well as the producer Matt had to help me troubleshoot on my laptop. So it was interesting, but it presented its own difficulties. But I remember I took a photo of it on Netflix. It said there are some production delays, or the episodes will be delayed due to COVID, different languages will be delayed, because I think like they have dubbing in Indian or Hindi or Korean, and I guess different studios in different countries were doing it a different way. So
yeah,
it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's like different restrictions and stuff from like in like different countries. I know I know Japan is like shut down pretty much altogether and all that. But
really, wow.
Yeah, they're like completely shut down.
I just hope we're on the other side of this soon, because it's the mental health toll these lockdowns. At least I don't know if Winnipeg, are you guys in a lockdown out there?
Oh no, we're not. The only thing we're locked down is like our faces. That's it.
Yeah, the mask. But I think that will stay for a while. But yeah, I think again we talked about Canadian healthcare system. I'm grateful that you could break your leg here and go get surgery, but now because the healthcare system doesn't have so many beds, and they let go of a lot of nurses who didn't want the vaccine, which I guess I understand. You're working in a hospital, you kind of have to. Anyways, you could just see how it's saturated and causing a stress on society in both ways. Stress on the hospital, as well as like the lockdown closing gyms and hospitality work. Like, it's affecting mental health for a lot of people, but I just hope we're getting past this soon.
Yeah, everybody's hoping to get past it for everybody's sake. Especially with Bakugan, like COVID has really hit Bakugan hard. Like community-wise, and mentality-wise, because like COVID hit, and Bakugan is a game where like you have to like have to actually interact with each other in person.
Physically, yeah, exactly, right, yeah.
It's that kind of game, and because stores are not allowing people to come in and play and all that, and like places have restrictions. Yeah, that's it's affecting the game pretty much. And there's also, and it's just like the Bakugan's card sets. We are actually 3 sets behind. Like there are 3 sets. And we do not have them in stores.
Is that because of like, you think shipping or like production because of COVID? Like,
yeah, COVID has caused the shipping industry to like get really chaotic, and therefore it's not getting the cards.
Supply chain issues, as they were saying.
Yeah, supply chain issues. Yeah, exactly. It's a mess. Gonna take a while to get this economy going.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, still, we're grateful that we have like the show that's keep going, because that's already entertaining in its own, and I have material that I can use for the channel.
Yeah, I'm happy you even do this. This is really cool. It's fun to talk about it. Yeah, fun to give a bit of my story. Another fun fact. I don't even get to roar and do any of my attacks as much in these future seasons, because I did them so much in the first 2 seasons. I remember once when I went to Hyper Trox the first time, it was like a 14 or 15 second, like I was sweating by the end of it. Anyways, I don't do much of that anymore, because
really? They're just using archive voice.
Yeah, I have this a bit of a spoiler, but there's sometimes I'm like, no, I protest. There's sometimes where I'm like, no, actually, I think this will call for a different sound. Can I? And then they're like, oh, okay. So there's sometimes where I can have a bit of a, this is my character. I want to have a say here right now. But a lot of time, because they're trying to get so many actors into the studio at a time, if it's just like a simple, the rollout when I'm coming out of my Baku ball, they'll reuse that sound. But like for certain new attacks, I'm like, no, I wanna earn my little bit of money.
But that's great though. That's because you don't if you use too much of archive voices, like a little bit too much, then people will actually like eventually catch on, right? So it's best to
catch on, yeah, and it takes away the authenticity.
Yeah, if you do like do that, and you might actually, and you could actually potentially bring something a lot different, something a lot better, even.
Exactly, and like now I do the voice so automatic. Like before the first couple of seasons, they'd play me my voice thing so I could get into the range, and I do a thing where like I drop the register of my voice. So this is me talking normally, and then when I need to talk down here, so I sit into my voice. That's a little preview if you haven't seen the show. Well, I'm sure everyone who's watching this right now has seen the show. But anyways, there was like some vocal exercises I did to myself, but even just getting that role in general, I really shout out to the producer Dave, because he's like, "You're from the islands. Can you put a little bit of an island flair on the voice?" I was like, "Yeah, I could do that," which is cool because sometimes, as Devin was telling me, some animation directors and producers, they have in mind what they want to do and that's it. And if you do something different, they're like, no, that's not it. They're not open to kind of collaborating, whereas the producers on Bakugan were really cool and really open to the collaboration. So big shout out to them. I was really happy for that. This is the first show I've worked on.
Yeah, Bakugan has like a wide, diverse thing where like they're really flexible when it comes to like the creativity between the actors and their characters, right?
Yeah,
I know exactly. I know I've probably said this a lot of times, and this is probably not a surprise anymore because it's pretty much well known. But like Devin always like adds a lot of ad libs to his lines. Yeah. Any kind of clever line that seems like a fourth wall break or it seems like a clever joke, he says it's always like him. And I'm very glad. Yeah. And I'm very glad though. I'm because like I actually wanted to like ask you about the accent, about Trox's accent, and what it felt like to actually bring your culture into this adorable green dinosaur.
Yeah, I mean, I was really surprised during the audition because I did my first read, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have an accent when I speak normally. Not very, because I was born here in Canada. I mean, je parle français aussi, alors j'ai un peu de temps en temps. I speak French fluently, so maybe when I speak French, I have a bit of a Quebec accent or Anglophone Quebec accent. But it was the producer Dave. I forget his last name now. It's excuse me. Is it Tebby? But anyways, the producer Dave. He's like, yeah, well, you have heritage from the island. Inject that into your character a little bit. And this was in the audition. I was like, damn. Okay. And I did that. And he's like, yep, perfect. And I was just like, he seems a little excited. But again, you hear producers and directors get excited sometimes and you don't get the job. You don't hear anything back. But he seemed excited and I got the job, which was really cool. And I really just gave him props for that because he wanted us to inject a bit of our personality or heritage into the character, which sometimes on YouTube I saw some people like, is Trox from Uganda? Where is he from? People had all these theories and I'm like, I don't know where he's from, but I just know, like, instead of saying Winton, instead of saying that, I'd be like, Winton, that doesn't, and like the island, like, that is almost like a DAT instead of a THAT, Yeah. So that's just one little example, but I purposely try to keep that bit of island or foreign accent in there just so he could be like a different, not just like I'm an angry dinosaur, or a smart wise dinosaur. Like, no, he has layers to him. So I was really happy when the producers encouraged us to do that, because I'm like, dang, they're really letting us make this show our own, or this character, I should say, my own.
Unlike a lot of shows where like a lot of the characters sound like they all came from the same place, even though their skin tone is like this is different and all that. In Bakugan, right. It really sounds like they all are different, right? Because like, and Trox's accent definitely a nice touch, because it really made him stand out, made him unique and all that. And that's just a lot of things that I've noticed in the show.
It's cool that way. Yeah, no, I'm very happy like that. Even on this snow day, they let me voice some other characters because they just needed me. I was in the studio and I voiced like some screaming school children, which was fun. I'm like, oh, instead of my deep voice, I gotta I gotta be like screaming school children. I did it on the fly. It is really cool to I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, like me and my brother. He was Vegeta, I was Goku. I grew up watching that, so I was just so ecstatic and happy. I'm like, I grew up watching Digimon, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Inuyasha, what else you name it, Inuyasha, jeez, the list goes on, like all these different animes, even Akira, the movies. And now that I got a chance to actually work on one, it blew my mind. I was just so happy.
exactly. This is exactly why you pursue your passion.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. You never know what can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mind you, and I should say it took me like 20, maybe 25 plus auditions before I got Bakugan. So like, some people it might happen faster. But other people it might take even longer. But as long as you enjoy the process as you're doing it, that's the key. No matter what you're doing in life, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the important thing, right? Just keep at it. Eventually you'll find it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna get my tea.
You're an avid
Show off Trox again.
You're an avid tea drinker as well.
Yeah, I find I avoided coffee in university. Green tea was my thing in university. But then when I started working restaurants, which I still do, sometimes you need a coffee to get through the night shift. But I find I often crash hard after I drink coffee. Like, it'll give you a buzz for a while, and then you'll come down, and then you need like another one and another one. That's why people are like, I'm on my 4th cup of coffee today. I'm like, maybe you should just have something slower acting, like tea.
Yeah, myself, I only drink like maybe 1 cup of coffee a day. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it could just become. I mean, but to each their own.
Yeah, that's and me personally, I like Asian teas. Jasmine, green, Bolé. And
have you ever tried chai tea?
Chai tea, yes.
Nice.
Chai tea.
Is that Indian?
It's Indian. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chai tea, bubble tea.
Which is amazing. I love bubble tea.
Bubble tea, bubble tea is pretty good. And I'm from Hong Kong, and you can get bubble tea everywhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that where it started?
I think bubble tea originated in Japan. But
okay.
I could be wrong though. I never looked into the history of bubble tea, but I just know that it's like a combination of milk and terracotta, and it's different flavors, and I just really like it because my brother was into it before, and then there was a bubble tea restaurant right near where a Chinese restaurant that we always ate at. Like, it's right next door. So after we were finished eating at that Chinese restaurant, we would go right next door and get a bubble tea and then come back.
Yeah, sick, nice. It almost became like a routine.
It definitely became a routine. Every time we went to that restaurant, we'd go like, "Hey, let's go get some bubble tea." I'm like, "Okay, then." I'm the one buying it.
Yeah, we need real questions.
But one more question though before we wrap this all up. What can we expect to see from Trox in season 4?
From Trox in season 4. Again, without giving out too much away, one thing I can say is he has a bit more of a I don't know if hero arc is the way, because like all of the awesome ones, Bakugan, are like cool and heroes in their own respect, but Trox saves the day and bails out not only Winton but other Bakugan a lot more, and it's cool because we've been doing it through all the seasons, but you really see how all the different Bakugan's specialties, Ventus, the Earth specialty, and then was it Halcor? Halcor, he used like a water blast. Anyways,
Hydrus.
Hydrus. Yeah, why am I saying Halcor? Jeez, my T hasn't kicked in. But you get to see, so Trox is a bit more of a hero. He saves the day for Winton directly a lot more and multiple times. But all of the Bakugan use their special skills, like almost like we wouldn't be able to get out of this puzzle if we didn't each have our own thing to play. Like, they rely on each other. And I think they do that a lot through the other seasons, but you really see that magnified again in season 4. And also there are points where you're like, wait, is this the final straw? Like, are they going to be defeated? Because there's some points where I'm like, wait a second, everyone's like going down here. Like, are we going to beat this guy? But you'll have to see if they do. But sometimes they make it close, even for me as the actor. I was like, whoa, everyone's getting messed up.
Okay. So we got a lot more heroes getting beaten moment.
Yeah, which is I like that, because I love Game of Thrones. I like it when the good guys come close to almost not saving the day, because it makes it more dramatic.
Yeah, or Infinity War or Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the bad guys win.
Yeah, which, and sometimes people are rooting for the bad guy because it's like an anti-hero. He's a bad guy, but you could understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, and those are the best villains, always, all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah, but yeah, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's been
No, thank you for having me. This was so dope. This was very fun. Like, I didn't know. I was a little nervous about doing it. Because I'm not super caught up with the show. Like, again, season 3, as you said, but because I wasn't in it much, I was a little hurt. Not hurt, but I just like, well, I'm not even in it, so why am I gonna? But no, I was nervous. I was like, I hope he's not gonna ask me the crazy pop quiz because I'm not. Again, until I got the job on Bakugan, I didn't realize that it was anime from before. So, like, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm learning more about it, and I'm just really impressed by all the fans. Like, it's really impressive on Twitter. It's cool to be a part of that community. So I'm kind of honored, to be in it.
And we're honored that you brought this character to life and brought your heritage onto Trox and made Trox such a memorable Bakugan that everybody loves. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Haru. Well, hold on. I want to take a photo of us. Okay. Hold on. Wait. All right, dope. Thank you a lot for this interview. It was very fun.
Yeah, and thank you so much for coming on. It's a huge honor, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime. This was a great conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
right.
Everybody, do you have any socials that you want to plug in? Instagram, Twitter, YouTube?
Please, socials. Yeah, more so Twitter because I think I'm going to use that more, and I'm going to be using my YouTube eventually. I think it's just Ucal so UCAL space UKES _. Look for that on YouTube because I'm going to be doing some behind the scenes of in the studio soon and a vlog about my journey if you're curious. And on Twitter, I think again I'm UK3S _. Because Ukes is a nickname my dad gave me. It's hard to have a nickname when you have a 3-letter name. Oh, sorry, a 4-letter name. 3-letter name. Wow.
Everything right there down below. Go follow him and go subscribe to his YouTube channel.
If you want, no pressure. Again, I'm not getting paid off it, so no pressure.
But anyways, definitely subscribe to BakuTalk for more awesome Bakugan content like this. I've been Haru Ran. This has been Ucal Shillingford, and thank God for rapid fire.